Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called The Rise of Fake Rich People. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, comment, and follow us. Also, remember to click on the notification bell so that you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd like to tell you about a service called HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live phone calls from your favorite celebrities, so check them out. There are more than 100 celebrities to choose from. A live 15-second call is $19.95 and a live 30-second call is $29.95. So give it a try. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's get started. As anyone watching the news these days can tell you, the economy and people are going through tremendous unemployment and financial turmoil. Anyone who doubts that can just take a look at all the vacant stores, malls, restaurants, bars, and office towers out there, and they'll see for themselves how bad things really are. And if you don't feel like driving around the city to confirm it, just go on YouTube. Watch the videos. They are amazing. Now, a lot of this economic stress is causing companies and individuals to try and conceal how bad they're doing, and they're accomplishing this in some really interesting ways. First, let's begin with the extreme measures that companies are taking to prevent others from determining how badly they're doing. Now, it's always been a given that many companies cook their books in order to create the impression that they're doing better than they are to try to reduce their tax liabilities. The joke in the business world is that if it wasn't for the business of cooking the accounting books for clients, that most accounting firms would be out of business. Now, lying about your financials and your profits is now so common that it seems like every other company is doing it. I remember that for the longest time, you couldn't walk into a gas station or a privately owned convenience store without seeing two cash registers or multiple calculators or cash drawers at the front counter of these places. The reason for that is that it was just easier for the owners to show some of the sales on one register tape and the rest of the sales on the other register tape. This way, they could generate different sales receipts and records, and this would make it easier for their bookkeepers to cook the books and hide the profits they were making. On a different level, for decades, you would see retailers lying about all the business they were or were not doing so that they could hide their profits or make themselves look more profitable to prospective purchasers. They would get away with all that nonsense for decades until a new company came online that would use daily satellite photos taken from orbit that would allow them to see and count the number of vehicles, customers' cars, parked outside of various stores and shopping malls. They would then sell that photographic evidence, those satellite photos, to Wall Street analysts who would use it to calculate how much business that store is or isn't doing. And then that would determine what their stock might be worth on any given day. Now, the car industry is famous for pretending to be far better off financially than it really is. Have you noticed how car dealer lots are flooded with car inventory that they can't sell now, but every day the news cycle is still flooded with stories about all the great deals you can get out there on cars? Have you tried to purchase a car lately? If so, you'll need to bring an army of lawyers, accountants, and proctologists with you because the dealers will bury you with so many shady contracts, offers, and attempts to upsell you that by the time you leave the dealership, they will have sold you a dozen different car accessories, warranties, and services that you will never need. Remember the Enron fiasco? For those who don't remember, Enron was a publicly traded energy company. Before it went bankrupt in 2001, it employed, or supposedly employed, approximately 29,000 staff and was a major electricity and natural gas producer, which claimed nearly $100 billion in revenue in the year 2000. Fortune magazine named Enron America's most innovative company for 6 consecutive years. What does that tell you? At the end of 2001, it was revealed that Enron's reported financial condition was made possible by massive accounting fraud, which went on to be famously known as the Enron scandal. Enron has since become a well-known example of wholesale corporate fraud and corruption. Uh, that scandal also brought into question the accounting practices and activities of many corporations in the United States. The scandal also caused the dissolution of the Arthur Andersen accounting firm, which has been Enron's main auditor for years. What does all this mean? Basically, the Enron scandal revealed that everything about that company was fraudulent and criminal in nature. The services they claimed to sell were fraudulent. Their accounting statements were fraudulent. Their stock price, fraudulent. The senior executives working there, most of them were criminals. Even the energy traders they had working for them in the buying and selling of energy, these guys were so corrupt and so stupid that even though they knew their phone calls were routinely being recorded by the company, they will still get on the phone and start bragging about ripping everybody off. Here's the really dangerous part of this story. Enron is not an isolated example of a Fortune 1000 company being deceptive or employing misrepresentation. You can perform a little academic exercise if you'd like to see how much lying and stealing and financial misrepresentation is still going on to this very day at the corporate level. It's massive. Go online and Google a list of major companies that have filed for bankruptcy in the last 12 to 18 months. Then start Googling the press releases of many of those companies. And those releases were often released within the last 12 or 18 months prior to their bankruptcy filings. If you do that, you'll see that a vast majority of those press releases paint a very bright and rosy and optimistic picture of how great they're doing and how bright their future is. And then all of a sudden, they file for bankruptcy. Now, even the dumbest accountants know that most bankruptcies don't just happen overnight. They're often the result of systemic bad sales or financial or competitive problems that have been developing for years, and that's what eventually causes the bankruptcy. So, when these companies spend 12 months telling you how great things are going, and then they file for bankruptcy, then you know they've been lying all along. And what happens? That should cause reasonable people and reasonable analysts to doubt the press releases of every company. Now, let's talk about the explosion of individuals online and in the real world who are pretending to be rich when they're really broke. Let's start with all the social media influencers who are now posting pictures of themselves on their private jets. This phenomena is now so common that there's a photo studio in Los Angeles called FD Photo Studio that has a fake jet cabin inside one of their studios that you can rent out by the hour, so that you can pose for pictures and then post them on your social media accounts. You can rent this fake jet studio out for $64 an hour and take as many pictures of yourself relaxing inside your fake jet as you would like. Next, we have an explosion of people on social media who suddenly have millions of followers and subscribers. They will open accounts and suddenly they have 500,000 or 1 million followers or subscribers, which they've accumulated over a short period of time. The reason they're able to build up such a massive list of followers is because the followers are fake. They're bots. They're driven and created by bots. You can go online now and find a number of companies and consultants who will sell you as many fake followers and subscribers for your media accounts as you would like. Another phenomena that's taking place now more and more often are these fake rich guys who will come into town and rent out a mansion on Airbnb for 2 or 3 weeks of nonstop partying, or maybe they just want to impress a prospective business client. They will invite a different girl each night and use the mansion they claim as their own to seduce her or to convince a client that they're really wealthy and successful. and that they should be doing business with them. Then at the end of the week or at the end of the home rental period, they will tell her that they have to leave town on business, but they want to see her again as soon as he gets back to town. Now, using this scam, they'll line up a dozen different women in each city and stay at their homes when they return to town. They'll stretch this out for months at a time, and it can take a year or two for women to realize that maybe the mansion really wasn't their house after all. Next, you have an explosion of fake resumes used by people who are job hunting without the necessary experience or education needed for those jobs. There are now numerous companies out there on the dark web which will create fake resumes and fake references for you that will stand up to pretty good scrutiny if your new employer starts checking you out. In addition to providing you with fake resumes, they will also provide you with fake confirmation of your employment history with the fake employers on your fake resume. They'll also provide you with some great fake personal references in case your company wants to check those out too to make sure you're legit. So remember, the moral of this story is that every time a company or an individual tells you they're doing really well, then keep in mind that not everything you see and everything you hear is always true. With that, I want to thank you for watching and tell you that we're going to be having more great celebrity interviews coming up, and we're going to be breaking some great news stories. So we want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you get notified every time we post a story. Thanks.